What is everyone watching right now? A boxing rematch. Enormous sums of money, the fading light of memory, a powerful lawmaker under the blinding glare of media pressure, facing a fight for his political life. A youth culture shift, crossing borders and oceans, carried on the invisible currents of the internet. These three stories are dominating our digital landscape today. They ask one unifying question. In a world saturated with information, how do attention and legacy shape our moment, our history, and our future? The answer isn't just in headlines, it's in the deeper currents they represent. These narratives are more than fleeting feeds. They are case studies in how value is created, how reputations are shattered, how identity is forged in the 21st century. Mayweather versus Pacquiao. Nostalgia, greatness, and commerce collide. Congressman Gonzales. Public accountability in a hyper-connected era. Chinamaxxing, a generation using global culture to define itself. Together, these events paint a vivid picture of our world. A world where the battle for attention is relentless. First, we turn to the world of sports, where money memory and a legendary rivalry are set to collide once more. Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao were, for a generation, the two titans of boxing. Their names synonymous with the peak of the sport's prestige and popularity. Their first monumental fight became a cultural event that is still debated and analyzed by fans around the globe. Now, the confirmation of a second fight, September 19, 2026, has electrified the sports world and instantly changed the conversation. What does it mean when legendary figures step back into the ring long after their primes? At its core, this rematch is about money, colossal amounts of it. Big names can sell enormous volumes of tickets, generate massive pay-per-view buys, and attract lucrative sponsorship deals. Promoters and broadcasters, including new players like Netflix, see a direct path to immense profit. The calculus is simple. These two iconic brands are a safer bet than building new stars. But don't reduce it to cash alone. There's a deeper, human element: legacy. Fighters care how history remembers them. Every move can burnish or tarnish their legacy. A rematch is a high-stakes gamble with that image. Will victory rewrite a legend, or will loss stain a career? Fans are split. Some want to relive the glory days and see these two icons of their youth one last time, nostalgia. Others are skeptical. They say it's manufactured for cash, a spectacle without sporting significance. That split shows how nostalgia can be packaged and sold, and how money reshapes memory. Mayweather versus Pacquiao 2, more than a payday. It forces a reevaluation of what legacy means in modern sports. Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao. They've earned championships, they've broken records, they've achieved global fame few athletes reach. This rematch isn't about getting into the Hall of Fame, it's about the final sentence in their biographies. Beyond the legacies of the two fighters, the Mayweather-Pacquiao rematch also serves as a powerful signal of a much larger transformation occurring within the business of boxing itself. The sport's traditional business model, which for decades was dominated by a few powerful television networks, has been fundamentally disrupted. The rise of streaming services and major tech platforms as serious contenders for live sports rights has completely changed the game. Netflix's decision to host its first-ever boxing event at the Las Vegas Sphere is not an isolated experiment. It is a declaration of a new era in sports media. This technological shift has profound implications for who controls the story of a fight and, by extension, the sport as a whole. In the past, network executives and a handful of powerful promoters held the keys to the kingdom, deciding which fighters received exposure and how their narratives were crafted. Now, the landscape is far more fragmented and democratized. A streaming giant has its own audience, its own marketing ecosystem, and its own data-driven approach to content, allowing it to package and promote a fight to a massive worldwide audience. The rematch, in this context, is a strategic Trojan horse. Use guaranteed attention to draw millions, then introduce the next generation. The crowd is gathering in a different kind of stadium, a digital one. Now, we shift our focus from the boxing ring to the political arena. A different kind of fight is unfolding under an equally intense spotlight. United States Congressman Tony Gonzales is currently facing a period of profound professional trouble. A series of deeply damaging reports have emerged alleging explicit text messages and other inappropriate communications. These allegations have moved swiftly from the fringes to the forefront of national attention, prompting serious responses from the highest levels of government. House Speaker Mike Johnson has publicly described the allegations as very serious. This story is a powerful illustration of media pressure and the unyielding demands of public accountability. In today's hyper-accelerated news cycle, serious claims can spread across the globe with astonishing speed. Once a story is picked up by major news outlets, it triggers a chain reaction. Reporters demand answers. Political opponents seize on the opportunity. Party leaders are compelled to respond to avoid appearing complacent or complicit. The public watches intently, judging the individual and the institutions. A telling aspect is the growing number of calls for the congressman to resign. What makes this pressure significant is its bipartisan nature. When criticism is only from one side, it can be dismissed as partisan. When both major parties echo the same concerns, the situation gains much greater weight. This rare consensus signals the issue has transcended typical political squabbling. Remain grounded in the facts and resist speculating about private motives. The objective is not to pass judgment, but to understand the process. How do private allegations escalate into public calls for resignation? It typically begins with an initial report, then verification, then amplification by larger outlets. That coverage forces party leadership to formulate a public stance. Pressure from colleagues, constituents, and the media builds, shaping possible paths forward. Investigation: a censure or a resignation? Yeah, that's basically how it unfolds. The controversy surrounding Congressman Gonzales also shines a harsh light on the brutal realities of reputation management in the digital age. In the face of a crisis, politicians, other public figures immediately deploy sophisticated teams, issue carefully worded statements, arrange strategic interviews, work tirelessly behind the scenes. The primary goal is to seize control of the story or inject doubt or alternative context to slow its momentum. This is a standard playbook for modern political crises. However, the efficacy of this playbook is rapidly diminishing. In the internet age, true control over a narrative is largely an illusion. Finally, our third story takes us into the dynamic and often bewildering world of online culture, where a new trend known as Chinamaxxing is rapidly gaining traction. Across social media platforms like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, a growing number of Gen Z users are embracing elements of Chinese culture. This phenomenon manifests in fashion and beauty aesthetics, culinary tastes, wellness routines, C-dramas, and mandapop. Digital creators are acting as key conduits, Sherry Ju as a prominent example, introducing and popularizing the trend to a massive global audience. A generation raised online with the world's cultures at their fingertips. For Gen Z, geographic and national borders matter less than the digital communities they belong to. They shop from international brands, watch creators across the globe, and learn through short, compelling videos. This constant mixing of cultures is their baseline. Trends now travel faster than politics or economics, creating a shared global youth culture in flux. Experts analyze motivations. Some point to political disillusionment in the West. Young people who feel disconnected seek novelty, seek escape, seek alternative values. Not a rejection of identity, but an expansion of it, using taste, style, and media consumption to build a personalized global self. The rapid rise of the Chinamaxxing trend has ignited a complex and often heated debate. Where is the line between cultural appreciation and cultural appropriation? This conversation is playing out in real-time comment sections, reply threads, reaction videos. On one side, many people welcome the newfound interest, including some from within the culture being referenced. They see it as a positive form of cultural exchange, a way to build bridges, an opportunity for their culture to be seen and celebrated on a global stage. However, an equally passionate and valid perspective comes from those who express concern and caution. This viewpoint emphasizes the importance of history, power dynamics, context, critics worry that dominant cultures can borrow without understanding or respecting original significance. This can lead to trivialization of sacred symbols, commercialization of deep-rooted traditions, perpetuation of stereotypes. The concern: the trend enjoys the aesthetic while ignoring the people and history behind it. This debate is not new, but social media amplifies its scale and intensity. In the past, travel. In the past, trade. In the past, academic study. Today it happens instantly and visually, with a look or vibe being adopted by millions before a deeper conversation about its origins can even begin. The platforms that enable this exchange also become arenas for chaotic, polarized debate. The argument becomes less about understanding and more about winning a viral shouting match. Ultimately, Chinamaxxing forces us to confront questions about identity and respect in a multicultural world. Is it possible to borrow respectfully and informed? What responsibility do individuals have to learn the history and meaning behind what they adopt? Though they unfold in vastly different arenas, sports, politics, culture, these three dominant stories are bound by a powerful, unifying thread. Each is fundamentally a story about the intersection of attention and legacy in our digital era. In the world of boxing, the currency of attention translates directly into millions of dollars and shapes the final chapter of a fighter's historical record. For Mayweather, for Pacquiao, this one fight is not just about a win or a loss. It is a battle for how their memory will be preserved. In politics, the focused beam of public attention can become an instrument of accountability, capable of saving or shattering a career, and defining how a public servant will be remembered by history. In culture, viral attention lets Chinamaxxing cross oceans and influence identity, while a culture's legacy is put at stake, open to interpretation and misinterpretation. In a world overflowing with information, the ability to capture and direct attention is the ultimate source of power, while the desire for a positive and lasting legacy is the ultimate human motivation. The digital age has not changed these drives, it has amplified them. This new reality, where news, trends, judgments move in minutes rather than days, creates immense and constant pressure. It can be a force for good, accelerating the exposure of truth and holding the powerful to account. But it can also be a force for spectacle, rewarding the loudest voice over the most reasoned one and promoting superficial engagement over deep understanding. We, the audience, are not passive observers. We are active participants. The stories we click on, the content we share, the figures we follow are all votes for what matters. Do we prioritize the spectacle of money over the integrity of a legacy? Do we rush to judgment based on headlines, or do we seek out the full context? When we engage with other cultures, do we do so with curiosity and respect, or simply for aesthetic pleasure? These questions are not abstract. They shape public life. So ask yourself, what are you chasing with your attention? What kind of legacy is your attention helping to build? A final thought. Attention is the most valuable, non-renewable resource of the 21st century. It is a form of currency, and we spend it every day. We must strive to spend it wisely. Demand facts. Look deeper. Celebrate genuine skill and courage. Question empty spectacle. When we consciously choose where to place our focus, we do more than consume the news. We actively shape a better and more meaningful legacy. For sports, for politics, for culture, and ultimately, for ourselves. Attention is the new currency. Legacy is the ultimate prize. The insights will challenge how we place our focus and what legacy our collective attention builds. Drop your take in the comments. Is Mayweather Pacquiao 2 legacy or cash grab? Should politicians face instant accountability online? Is Chinamaxxing appreciation or appropriation, and why? Subscribe for deeper breakdowns that go beyond the headline.